and welcome to another AFK from Home video. Again, my name's Daylen Luchsinger, and this week I want to focus in on the idea of journeys in our artwork. This week I'm going to be working with a question, and that question is, how does this journey that we're currently on transform us or change us? I'm going to be looking at the artwork of two artists. The first artist's work that I'm going to look at is an artwork by Bill Reid. Bill Reid was a HAIDA artist from British Columbia here, and you may have seen some of his artworks around. He's quite an artist of note in Canada, and one of his major works that some of you may have seen while traveling is The Spirit of Haida Gwaii, which is one of three large sculptures, and one being in the airport here in Vancouver, the large jade canoe with the figures and animals all spilling out of it and traveling in it. The artwork from Bill that we're specifically going to look at this week is called Swqaqaan. It's and the English translation would be salmon or salmon pool. That's written in pencil at the bottom of the artwork. And in this artwork we see a wonderful swirling group of salmon swimming around in a pool, and Bill has used traditional HAIDA design to create a lot of movement, and that idea of movement and journey, and that swimming or pausing in a pool that salmon may do before they tackle their next challenge of moving up a difficult part of stream. The second artist I'd like to look at with you this week is an artist named Gu Zhan. Gu was originally born in China and immigrated to Canada, and in 2014 we were very lucky in North Vancouver in the Gordon Smith Gallery here to host an exhibition by Gu, and that exhibition was called A Journey Exposed. Some of you may recall being in workshops presented by Gu that helped make lots of little ceramic pigs, and in the Gordon Smith Gallery here Gu had a river of these little ceramic pigs that filled the center of the space. Gu's work looks at this idea of journey and really transforming space as well, activating space. So this week, using these two artists as inspiration, I'd like to lead you through an activity that allows us to look at the space we've been occupying, and as we maybe transition out of that space, and kind of reflect on the journey that we've all been on, and kind of explore that a little bit through art and using some objects to activate that space before we kind of move on to the next step of our journey. The supplies for this week's video are fairly simple. It's just paper. I've chosen to use red paper to be similar to the salmon in Bill Reid's work. And I'm going to use the Japanese origami technique of folding paper. I think actually this is a koi fish that I'm folding, but it's close enough and simple enough for what I needed to do. So I have a 6 by 6 inch or 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter square of paper. And step one is to fold this diagonally in half. If you have actual origami paper, it might be a little easier. I'm using construction paper. Step two is to unfold, and then we kind of make an ice cream cone for step three. So fold this here, along there, and the other side, along there. And then we unfold these, and we're gonna do that same step on the other side of the paper. So making the reverse of an ice cream cone. There and there. And then we're going to unfold everything. The next step is one of the trickier steps. On our original first fold, we have that horizontal, and then we fold in the two bottom parts of our ice cream cone, leaving that flap up, and slowly pinch it together and fold that to one side. And And then I'm going to flip that over for ease, and then we do the same to the other side. Fold those two halves of the ice cream cone together, slowly pinch it down. And fold that down to the same side. So now we have a piece of paper that looks something like this. We're going to fold this or flip this over, and the end that's opposite of our little points here, we're going to fold this part way in towards the center of the paper there. That's going to become the head of our fish. And then we, on that original main fold, we fold the fish up. We now have something that looks like this. And the last step is to create the tail. We fold up this long skinny part like that. And if you want the tail to stay in on itself, you can open it up and then carefully kind of tuck it back in, called a reverse fold in on itself. So it goes in between those two slots there. And then these are the flippers or wings of your fish. And you have a koi, or in my purpose, a spawning salmon, a red salmon. I'm gonna go ahead and make a whole bunch more of these, and then you'll see how I choose to install them in my home. As you can see here, I've installed a small river of fish across my dining room table to activate a space. And I was thinking about how this journey has transformed me. I know it's transformed my backyard, where this year we've put in quite an extensive vegetable garden. I think part of not traveling on weekends and staying in one place and thinking about food. Salmon is such an essential food for many of the indigenous groups here in BC and other areas of North America. And I think just for many of us growing up here on Vancouver Island, myself, and in Powell River, and now living in Vancouver, salmon is such an integral part of our diet and our ecosystem. I like the idea of transforming my dining room table with this idea of food, but also this idea of sharing. And this journey's transformed me in sharing art videos from my own home, but also how I think about movement and my journey. And one of the things I was thinking about in my journey is this notion of pausing and staying in one place for a while. And I think salmon are a great metaphor for that, as they pause and rest in a pool, in a river, as they're making one of their large, or possibly even their final journey to a spawning ground. I'd like you to activate a space in your home. If you choose to share it, please do. There's the sharing hashtags of AFK from home. We'd love to see your artwork, and I'm excited to see people back in some of our spaces here in North Vancouver. Thank you again for joining us, and take care, everyone.